Well, hello there. Luke here from the Scoundrel's Cantina with my friend Nate, Kyle The Outcast Katarn, and we haven't done a stream in about 2 years, so let's start off with something fresh. So feel free to introduce yourself, Nate. Kyle.
Hello there. Oh wait, wrong character. My bad. That's the other thing that I cosplay a lot. That's actually the first one I cosplayed like ever was Obi-Wan for several years, and yeah, but yep, my name is Nate, and I got reintroduced to Kyle Katarn a couple years ago in the middle of a project with Mike Starwalker, and had to go back and refresh my memory on Kyle and Outcast and Dark Forces 2 and Academy, and I've just been over the past few years getting way more invested into the EU content than ever. After what Disney has done to the franchise with all their nonsense and inability to focus on making good stories, for obvious reasons. Caffeine Candy. Anyways,
Yeah, that's freaking horrible, honestly.
oh man, yeah, but yeah, it's been great meeting and getting to talk with Luca here over just all the cool old lore stuff that was actually good, actually well fleshed out, and just talk about where we as fans can take Star Wars projects and stuff, and also more importantly, the biggest reason why Star Wars resonates with us so much, and that being to do with our faith in
Definitely.
Christ. It's like even as a kid at 4 or 5 years old, is even then when watching Star Wars for the first time and realizing the Jedi were not supposed to hate. It's like, wait, so Dad, the Jedi are they're like us. They're like us as Christians, where they're not supposed to hate either. Like, that's so cool. Like this is a cool, relatable thing.
Yeah, it really did feel that way for a long time.
Yeah.
But the part that doesn't really work at the end is because the Jedi were kind of corrupted. Like
But
in the
it's
prequels,
also
at least.
parallel of how we have a lot of false believers. We do have a lot we definitely have a lot who are pretend believers out there. There is
True.
that. There is definitely that.
Although when you look at it, in the prequel trilogy, they are kind of corrupted by their hubris and ego, the Jedi.
Yeah. Mhm.
But
Yeah,
Luke's Jedi Academy is the fix
it is
for it.
there.
He basically fixes the issues at the end, especially with the relationships and stuff. So you have that.
Yeah. I mean, it's well, the whole Chosen One thing. It's again, it's meant to be, to a degree, something of a parallel with Jesus,
Definitely.
but also with obviously some very big core differences too. I mean, Anakin was far from perfect, and so was Luke. And Luke was actually the closer of the two to that kind of figure. But I mean, it's like Luke was basically Chosen One, Gen 2.
Technically, yes. Although that would be an oxymoron since it's Chosen One.
Right.
In a way.
It's more like
Anakin is also an inversion in a way as well when you look at it, because he has a virginal birth basically as well.
Mhm.
Although he's anything but Christ when you look at it, and there are a lot of parallels which I really enjoy that stuff. You have medieval art of Lucifer with his hand going like this over his face, and you have an exact same shot of that when he's fighting against Obi-Wan. It's basically I can search it up and find it for you if you want to see. It's literally like when he's defending against Obi-Wan in a stalemate like this, holding the lightsaber, his face is covered in the same way Lucifer covers his in old medieval art. So you have.
I never realized that.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna search it up right now. Why not?
Yeah, why not bring up an image of that? That's I never quite realized that.
And then you have when Obi-Wan and Anakin have that hold their lightsabers by their hands with the lava behind them. It's basically like Jacob with the angel. Okay, let's see. Okay, I found the image actually. Here it is.
There was something more iconic with the imagery of that particular moment but I just could not quite lay my finger on what was it.
Okay, I found it now.
It's like Simba versus Scar. Simba versus Scar, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, they're the same picture. But yeah.
Okay, share screen. Let's see. Can you see it by any chance?
Yes.
This is it, basically.
Yep. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Yep. Definitely a great deal of resemblance there. Mm-hmm.
Really interesting stuff.
Yep.
So yeah. Oh, hello there, Xim. The despot. He's been following me for like the longest out of everyone. I remember him every time I see him. So, thanks for joining us, mate. It's been a while. Yeah, the Bible does warn us to beware of false prophets, definitely. Especially today.
Yeah.
When you look at it. Like today we have this issue of extreme heresy.
Oh yeah.
Like in a lot of Protestant churches, so that's like a big issue. But I don't really want to get too much into that because I'm going to start saying no words for YouTube if I go there.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to lose your job because of it as well.
No,
because of me.
Preferably not.
It seems you've frozen a bit, but it'll get better. Huh?
Hold on a second. Wait, where the heck is?
I can remove you. And, oh, you're back.
Is that better? Okay, so I can't change tabs on here. Okay.
Oh.
I was trying to get over to the YouTube tab so that way I could also Oh wait, comments. There it is. There we go. Right here in StreamYard. Now I see where. It's been a long time since I've used StreamYard for this kind of thing and be able to.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I've been searching up these past few days. You've heard about the Shroud of Turin, right?
I'm sorry, what?
You've heard about the Shroud of Turin, the burial shroud of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been looking it up a bit, and honestly, at first when I saw that, I was a complete skeptic of it. But the more I went into it, I actually thought it was like a Catholic relic or something like that. I didn't take it too seriously at all. I mean, I grew up Protestant, so that's how it goes usually. You don't take stuff that are non-Bible seriously, although that's completely changed in my book over the past few years. The thing is, you have this. It's like a real life, scientifically proven receipt of the resurrection in a way. Like it's not paint. It's not anything on it that they can see that it's actually possible of pulling off, especially if it's first century linen. And it's basically like 2 to 5 microns thin on top of the linen cloth layer. You can barely see it, but they actually discovered it on a negative in 1989, if I'm not mistaken. 1898. Sorry.
Actually,
that's basically
you're the one who shared it with me in the first place.
Hmm?
You actually, you sent that over to me actually.
I did a few months ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about it? They have no idea how it came to be. Basically, why they call it a receipt for the resurrection would be that in order to get this, imagine this is the piece of linen cloth. Basically, you have like hundreds of thousands of nuclear bombs of energy. Like I think they said 34 trillion watts of energy to make the image appear there, but it would have to happen in a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a second in order for it to not burn up absolutely immediately. And for the image to actually stay on such a thin layer on top. So I'm not really sure if I'm saying this correctly all the way. It's basically you have a massive amount of energy in order to pull it off without burning it up, but just enough time, which is like a billionth of a second, for it to have an image that thin on top. That's why they call it a receipt of the resurrection, which is absolutely fascinating. And the thing is, they believe it's gamma radiation. Where on earth would you get gamma radiation in the 1st century?
Right.
It's unbelievable when you look at it. I was so fascinated by that stuff. I actually believe now. And ironically, you have I think it's in John, when the apostles, when Peter and John arrive to the tomb of Jesus, they see the cloth on the ground and also the headband, as the head cloth as well. And at the end, John enters after Peter and he says, "I saw and I believed." But he didn't see Jesus. He just saw the burial cloth.
Right.
He saw and he believed. What did he see? Like, anyone could have technically stolen the body when you look at it. There's this theory that he actually saw the cloth lighting up or something, or who knows? I don't know. But it's kind of interesting, really, when you look at it that way, because it's apart from having, for Jesus, we have around 24,000 manuscripts over the past 2,000 years, like more than any person in history, specifically from the 1st century. And then we have something scientifically provable. Actually, it's not provable, but we have something scientifically studied and tangible in 2026, basically, which can be explained. And ironically, they even tried to cover it up in a way. They did some tests in the 1980s and didn't allow anyone to check the way they carbon dated the cloth. For the next 27 years, it was hidden. They didn't show the process of the carbon dating. And turns out that in 1532, there was a fire where it was held in France, if I'm not mistaken. And someone who added the piece of cloth that was burnt up, they tested that part. So they carbon dated it originally to the 14th century instead of the 1st. It's interesting stuff, dude. Like, really. And also, probably the most interesting thing about it has they can see around 700 cuts on the body, which is absolutely unbelievable. Just imagine, it's worse than the Passion of the Christ of Mel Gibson, and 700 cuts all over the body. That's just like the front part of the torso and the back. You don't really see the sides. They see a puncture wound between the ribs, which would be when they stab him with the spear.
Yeah.
They said they have Jerusalem dust on the ankles, feet, and nose, which would mean when he fell on his face with the cross on his back, probably broke his nose as well. And they still have the particles of the dust specifically from Jerusalem. They even have the pollen from springtime, 58 different pollens across the shroud, different parts of the world, because the shroud apparently traveled from Jerusalem to Turkey. Then it was in Constantinople for about 1,000 years, went to France, and eventually ended up in Turin, Italy. And out of the 58 pollens, they say that 38 was from Israel. Today's Israel, basically. It's unbelievable stuff, really, especially that it survived. And they say that the image is fading. I just like the real life lore quite a bit.
Sorry, what was that?
I really like the real life lore of stuff like that. Really love history and theology and stuff, because the thing is, people think it's blind faith usually, but we have a lot to believe in. Because if it weren't for the apostles, for example, if they didn't see with their own eyes, see actual proof of someone who was killed and was back again, we wouldn't have what we have today. There would be no Christianity at the end of the day. And of course, if it were a lie, no one would go to their deaths for it. How did you originally get into Star Wars? I'm curious.
It was my parents introduced it to me when I was either 4 or 5. That's basically how I got started.
Damn, you fucking Americans are really lucky that your parents show you that stuff. Fucking hell. Because for me, I'm literally like the only one that had to find it himself. Like, no one showed me shit. Literally.
I will say though, it's been very weird. Getting back into teaching this past year, and finding there are so many of these kids that have not been introduced to it, not even by high school. And I'm like,
Really?
what? These are children of Gen Xers and some my fellow millennials. I'm like, how the hell does this happen? Like, even just for the sake of culturing, you would think that would have been at least somewhere in most parents' library of things to at least have their kids be familiar with. So yeah.
So they basically know nothing about it.
Yeah. So I've now made it part of a couple of my classes. I will show A New Hope to get them started, because the hero's journey is absolutely crucial to some of the classes that I teach. And what better way than the very movie that like just brought the hero's journey structure to the forefront of Hollywood movies than A New Hope itself.
Imagine if they trash talked it when they saw it. Oh, the effects are so crap. What is this shit? Like,
Okay, I did make one tiny little compromise on that. This is going to be a bit controversial, but so I took the final edit of A New Hope, which basically is a restoration of basically not having almost any of those special edition scenes or clips that were added in the late 90s or early 2000s by George Lucas that were like kind of pointless, annoying, things that actually disrupted pacing a little bit. And that Jabba scene gets rid of those, keeps only like, I think it was 2 wide shots of Mos Eisley just to better establish it overall without being disruptive. It's like those 2 shots, it's like, okay, you guys put those in, that was fine. That actually, it flowed well. It gave a better idea of what the place looked like. Fine, fair. The controversial thing I did, I brought in the fix it in post version of Vader versus old Obi-Wan. Because to be quite frank, even as a kid, way back when I was 4 or 5, I do distinctly remember not being impressed by the original fight. You could tell they were holding back because of the stupid glass rods that those lightsabers were. And there was nothing impressive nor convincing in that choreography, if I have to be brutally honest. Now,
but technically, the technology was impressive at the time, though.
Right, the technology was, but the choreography was not. That was the problem there, and I was like, "There's no way in hell it didn't impress me. There's no way in hell it's going to impress any of these kids today. They're going to be like, this is a joke."
So wait, did you actually add the fight that they recreated a few years ago? The one, the 38X, what's it called?
Yep, the reimagined.
That's like so good, like unbelievably good.
Yeah, and I love how they tie in the little bits of the voices from Revenge of the Sith without directly giving away who Vader is.
If someone's watching for the first time.
Yeah. The kids have no idea that Vader, who Vader actually is. So there's that's retained. Because like I want them, I'm actually offering them in the upcoming weeks extra credit if they need it. They can come during the ELT time, which is basically our mandatory study hall period. I will actually go ahead and screen Empire Strikes Back for them if they want. So, yeah.
I wish I had a teacher like that.
Yeah.
No, seriously though, like
I know. So do I. And a whole bunch of my teachers back when I was a kid, a whole bunch of them were all Star Wars fanatics. Like, I would say 3/4 of the male teachers in the high school were Star Wars fanatics, and several of the women were too. So
You lucky bastards. Seriously, though. Because over here, I was the weirdo that played games. I was the weirdo that had a Lego collection and liked playing games in my free time.
Okay, having the Lego collection and playing the games might have been at least sort of out of the ordinary. And I was at a public school where I was raised, but it felt like roughly 80% of the entire student population at least somewhat liked Star Wars, rated it anywhere from a 7 out of 10 and up. And then there was, of course, the minority of us that were like, oh no, several of these movies are solid 10s, like Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith. Like, hands down, you know. And like, I remember, like, I will argue to the death. It drives me crazy when people generalize that the whole set of prequels were hated way back, when it's like, no. First of all, hate is actually a very strong word. Most people actually didn't truly hate them. They just found the first two to be severely subpar to the originals, but the vast majority of the entire population that watched it loved Revenge of the Sith right from day one. Like, that is how it was over here. Almost everybody loved Revenge of the Sith when they came out. The love for Revenge of the Sith is not something being renewed today. It's not new. It's always been there. It's just people are louder about it on social media that exists now that didn't back then.
They sure hope that the Rise of Skywalker would get that as well after the first two flops, but no.
Oh, gosh.
They really
Pure
screwed that up.
garbage. That trilogy is pure garbage. Like, the first one was like kind of fun, but then it was like that the replay value of that hinged entirely on to the next two develop right after it, which they obviously were a colossal failure on that front. I mean, it was a trilogy at war with itself. The only strength it had was pacing. Well, Force Awakens had pacing. I'll give Rise of Skywalker that it had pacing. J.J. Abrams can take something that's absolute crap and still at least make the pacing good somehow, but it was still crap.
I remember, I think I was never excited for a movie in my life like I was for The Force Awakens. Even though I never thought I would consider it like canon, because it was obvious they weren't going the EU route. And I remember when me and my friend, that was 10 years ago. Shit, I feel old. Shit, I was 20 then. No, almost 20. I was 19 when The Force Awakens came out. We went to the cinema. Oh, listen to this. We had stormtrooper helmets, two of us. Like, we had nothing more was actually available, and a episode 4 lightsaber Black Series removable blade, specifically Luke's, aka Anakin's, from episode 4. I still have it to this day. We went to the cinema, wore helmets. Some dudes who were driving by started yelling, "Oh, look at them idiots!" Because that was very weird here in Serbia. Like, they were literally mocking us while we were going to the cinema. And then in the cinema, when the Star Wars logo came up, you can actually see it. We did a video of it, and it's kind of visible. When I turned on the lightsaber, because that's what you usually do when you see the letters of Star Wars, some retard, some moron behind me, some retard behind me literally said, "Turn that light off." A light, not a lightsaber. It's a light. Like, are you freaking serious?
Now?
It was the premiere of The Force Awakens. It's like, turn that light off. Like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you, man. And worst of all, the movie was crap. I mean, I didn't like the movie because I was like, that's it. That's what I was excited for. And then, because I was so excited for it before that, in the video, I was like, yeah, it was fine. It was fucking shit and aged like milk, especially now.
It aged horribly. It really aged horribly. It was way too redundant of A New Hope, and yet shattered. Shattered in the overall use of the hero's journey.
Technically, when you look at it,
comment here, we should respond to here. This is the
Sure.
The only criticism of the prequel trilogy I've heard was people who grew up with the Star Wars EU in the 90s and found the new films lacking. That is another portion of it. That's one of the things that drives me a bit nuts. Was the main criticism I hear from EU fans who, from it seems to me that's roughly 1 out of every 5 or so EU fans that don't like the prequels because, or rather, they don't like the Chosen One concept because it takes away from the spiritual and mystical depth or whatever. And I'm like, what? It adds to it. Are you kidding me? Like that.
Oh,
literally,
I
that
get the
actually-
argument.
if-
You know why I think? I think they
Yes.
dislike it. Might be a theory of mine specifically. I think they dislike it specifically because with the Chosen One theory, you have this ancient prophet. No, with the Chosen One prophecy, you have this ancient prophecy prophesying of a end of something bad. Technically, for thousands of years, you have it in the Old Republic. I remember some comics depict the future with Vader, with Order 66, with Luke, Anakin, whatever. Can't remember which one it is, to be honest. But someone sees a vision of the prophecy, basically. And what it does is you have this end game of a story where something is supposed to change. And now with the EU timeline existing after it, with the story continuing after Return of the Jedi, this Chosen One prophecy literally means nothing. At least that's my interpretation of it. Because what exactly changed? Like everything's the same. Like what exactly? They didn't even destroy the Sith then. If the prophecy is just about destroying the Sith in name, the prophecy is fake then as well, because you have Sith after Return of the Jedi still.
Right, you do have Sith and Dark Jedi all coming from the Outer Rim.
You can make an exception for the Dark Jedi, but you have Darth Krayt in the background.
Yeah, yes, and that's part of where we're going with the series that we're working on. That is not 100% a total remake of the Dark Forces saga and the and Heir to the Empire, where we've got certain changes, which I'll just clarify right now off the bat, because there's a lot of these coming out now through AI. Is all these AI fan films that are merging Heir to the Empire and other EU stories with Disney canon. With the one exception being that it seems that most of them are at least discarding the idea of ever building up to the crappy sequel movies that Disney rolled out. I think that pretty much all of them are a middle finger to Disney for that. So I will give credit where it's due on that, because the Disney trilogy is pure trash in every level. But the thing is that, well, what we're doing is we're not integrating with Disney canon. With the basically we're not integrating with anything from Rebels or post Endor from Disney with what we're doing.
So no Mandalorian, no anything. The Mandalorian,
right? Not even Mandalorian. Even Mandalorian. I mean, like, that show I felt was okay. It was fun, but that's about it. Like, I never felt like it was anything outstanding. Like, Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope are the outstanding movies, right? They're the ones that really define what are 9s and 10s in the overall franchise, right? Clone Wars series, I will say there are certain sections of it that are like that, but more of that is in the Clone Wars comics from the EU that existed prior.
Republic.
So what we're working on is, we're trying to juggle how do we integrate and actually acknowledge events from just a few select portions of the animated series and most of the comics, if / whenever there's stuff that's relevant to what we're doing. I mean, we are in 8 years after Endor. What we're doing, we're starting out with an altered version of Kyle's journey into becoming a Jedi. He starts off already a bit further in his knowledge of the Force and saber combat than he was in the original version when he first started going up against Jarek and the Dark Jedi. Jarek and the Dark Jedi in this, they're the ones actually piloting the entire Reborn Warrior program, but they're piloting a early version of it. Happy Easter, bro. The Banker Duck 4925. May the force be with you too. Yeah, so we're doing that. Yeah, we've had every now and then we get some comments, either criticizing or even just honestly out of curiosity questioning, like, why do we have a version of Kyle Katarn here wielding a saber staff? Which will just roll the clocks right back for me to way back when playing Outcasts in an Academy. Who the hell didn't want to back then have Kyle as the main character that we were playing again? Because he was such a fun, snarky Jedi with a lot of great personality traits in Outcast. Who didn't want him to be the main character that you play again in Academy and slap a saber staff in his hands? I mean, saber staffs, like, they benefit aggressive users above all else, and Kyle is an aggressive user. He's like a Cobra Kai Jedi in that sense, where he's a very strike first, strike hard, no mercy but yes honor type character. We have joked sometimes that he's the Johnny Lawrence, but he's not, because he's a lot smarter than Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai. Johnny Lawrence is a great character, but he is quite a bonehead throughout the whole series, which is hilarious. But Kyle's comedic moments come from being a smartass, not a dolt.
Sith spit.
Yeah. Kind of wondered if we're gonna actually use that particular line, but I feel like it's too cheesy. Like, I get why they used it back then.
The cheesiness technically gives you the old, the original trilogy vibe to it, technically, if you ask me. Because when I honestly don't know, I think Jedi Outcast pulls off the original trilogy feeling better than almost any piece of Star Wars next to it, if you want that kind of feeling, while at the same time not really copying it, giving it something new. Like, for example, that whole Cantina scene with the Chiss bartender, Balderek, if I'm not, that's just absolute pure gold how they did that.
I can't wait till we actually get to redo that scene.
I actually wish I could go to the US and film something with you guys, but I'm on the other side of the planet, sadly.
No. Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah,
maybe one day.
Would you like me to show off the trailer that we have posted on the channel for the series you're talking about, for people who don't know what it is?
Oh, sure, of course.
I'll share screen it right now. Just give me a sec. Let's see what. Okay, give me a sec.
Well, looks like we're gonna have a cool comment here to respond to in a few minutes.
Definitely.
Yeah, while you're firing that up. So yeah, what I was saying though before I didn't get to finish that part was what we're trying to do with our series was reimagining the Dark Forces saga and basically making a reimagined EU or RU. Another name for it has been Fan Universe, or FU for, I guess, FU Disney, but that's the joke flying around.
F canon, huh?
Was to unify the best of the EU with the prequel era. So here we go. Let's let that play.
Okay, let's see.
The time of the Jedi is long past.
To the ball!
Let's see if they can hear you over there. All right, get out of here. Better put those in the back of the tank.
Oh yeah, we had way too much fun with that particular part.
We better put those in the back to tank.
Yeah, that was just a direct like little nod to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in X3 when he kicks the one other regenerator mutant after chopping his arms off. They keep growing back. He's like, "Come on!" And he's like, kick him in the balls, grow those back. And
In the back to tank.
it's like that's such a Kyle thing to do. That really is a very Kyle thing to do right there, especially in this.
I see a Tamara Morrison meme here somewhere with the back stuff. Put those in the Polynesian spa. Try something new or something like that.
I mean, I can't wait to roll out another trailer, and then of course just the actual full merge of the Skywalker Rising Dawn with the Kyle Katarn Rising Dawn, which actually we're making the title actually entirely different now, because I'm just not sure that the Rising Dawn name really fits anymore. So it's going to be basically Dark Forces assault on the New Jedi Order is basically what it's going to be, and right now it's clocking at 13 minutes and 20 seconds because I mean, there's a bit more than just simply merging the two different saber comp entries that we had made separately at first together, but we have massive VFX overhauls to them, and like the mercenaries that you see, which were makeshift because the guy that was going to come in bringing us a whole bunch of either bounty hunter or stormtrooper cosplays bailed on us right while my flight to San Antonio was already in progress back then in 2023. We replaced them with stormtroopers, and it's coming along really freaking great. The way that we've enhanced some of the environmental areas and just added, we really supplemented it with so much more stuff. We've got the red Yavin planet showing up in the sky everywhere, every time that it should. In every shot, we've 3D implemented and tracked it in every shot where it should show up to just further sell that illusion that, yeah, this is Yavin 4. We are here. Sure, the temple doesn't look the same as we remember in Academy in terms of a lot of the interior stuff, but that's easy to pass off. It's just, a
Another
reconstruction, especially after some damage may have been done. So some reindustrialization. It's easy.
How many people are working on this?
Oh well, let's see here. On the post-production side of it, it's 90% of the time just me.
So you're the editor, technically.
Yeah. However, I did teach several of my guys on the Saber team that I have who had never touched editing software in their lives. I taught them how to take care of the Saber animation so I could just dedicate my time to the harder effects that require a lot more experience and fluency in Adobe After Effects and DaVinci Resolve Studio. Now I've basically come up with a whole new method that is 7 to 12 times, well, it was 7 to 12 times faster than anything that anybody knows about publicly. And now that method just got boosted by a major After Effects update over the past set of months. It changes a couple steps entirely now, but overall, that number of steps remains effectively the same. It's just different effects that we have to use for certain aspects of it. You'll see once I have the tutorial of that up, but that's going to be a revolutionary new tutorial to put up and have people see.
I'm curious, when it comes to the editing, what is the hardest part for you specifically? Tell me, is it the sound design?
Anything 3D and AI, which I will say, okay, so AI, before all the guns start getting pointed at my way here, over the whole AI slop thing, we are very, very anti-slop. We are very anti-replacing dedicated actors with AI, with the only exceptions being two things. One, things that we can't do without 200 feet of actual green or blue screen walls that we could actually do parkour on. We don't have that. We don't have access to that. The nearest place around here that offers anything even halfway to that is $500 to $1,000 a day of use or worse. It's insanely out of budget. Number two, just loads of background extra type characters that you don't have the budget nor the people available for in the first place. That, it doesn't matter. They're background extras.
It's technically like cheaper CGI.
Yeah. And I've dealt with, a number of whiny, obnoxious extras in this area. I'd say it's 1 out of every 5 to 10, depending on what crowd you get what day, that are just always acting like they should be getting paid like $300 to $500 for the day for barely even trying. And then, of course, we've got the vast majority of others that are just like, what? Bro, I'm happy to be here. Like, this is amazing. I'm happy to be helping with something that's like really cool. We all agreed this was a volunteer basis. And
you actually reminded me of something. Here in Serbia, they actually made a fan film like 5 years ago, a Star Wars fan film. And it looks quite decent. We have some locations of some monuments that really look like New Jedi Order stuff, technically. Yavin or something like that. Well, listen to this. Me and my friend Todd, we're probably the biggest Star Wars YouTubers in this region of the world, technically, probably. We were never invited, but we know a lot of people who were. And listen to this. The director, we were supposed to do the promotion for their fan film, but when the directors saw that we were Christians and technically right-wingers, he refused to let us help him promote the movie. And when I saw the movie, it's a bloody fan film. It had a lesbian scene in it. It was woke shit. Imagine my disappointment and how glad I wasn't part of it. Like, in Serbia, everyone is against that stuff, like across the board, basically. Yet they managed to put it into a fucking fan film. Shame. It was basically shameful from my perspective completely. Like, you don't do that with fan films. You can't really afford to. Bro, you're supposed to make something impressive. And even if some of the things were impressive in it for a fan film, imagine putting stuff like that there. For why?
Yeah, and the focus on checking boxes.
For who? That's the thing.
We're
like,
working on focusing on a good story. Like, you can check boxes while developing a good story. The problem is that we have way too many folks out there who are hyper focused on just checking the boxes that don't include the story box. And
it's always diversity at the expense of the story, like constantly.
Right. It's like you can have diversity all you want. I mean, like, and 99% of the crowd that they accuse of being anti-diversity have no problem with diversity. We just simply want a good story. Like, I've seen one or two comments that were just like, why don't we erase or gender swap Kyle Katarn? Why don't we have Disney do that? And it's like, okay, firstly, don't go and take a character that's pre-established and do that. Invent a new one. Like, if 30 years ago at this point, when they introduced Kyle Katarn in the first place, had they introduced him with, like, I don't know, Denzel Washington as a not white Kyle Katarn in the first place, and that was the establishment of him, like, that would have been perfectly fine. He would have been every bit as beloved as he is today. Anyways,
The thing is, I don't remember people complaining about Lando.
Right. It's the whole, like, you come in doing these swaps, there is always always that motive of they want to spite a whole crowd of people. They want to give that crowd of people the finger during the swap. That's always at least half the motive behind the swap. That's the problem.
I have a new theory though.
It's so
over
toxic.
the years, I've been convinced that it's not about money at all. It's about the agendas and everything. But now I have a new theory when it comes to that. Like, for example, is it HBO with the new Harry Potter series where we have Professor Snoop instead of Professor Snape. But the thing is, I'm actually starting to believe that they probably have some huge minuses, like billions lost or something like that in the company, and this is just a cover-up on why they're actually losing money or something. Maybe it's that, or maybe it's just a huge money laundering operation in some way. Because
those all over, so that's certainly possible.
They invest so much money into this crap in modern day shows, movies. It's overall rejected from all sides at this point. They're obviously losing money. I actually think it might actually be just a cover-up for something like that. I'm not sure, because this is just absolutely insane. Like, you really don't have to do stuff like that. I mean, most people are immediately out when you race swap a character, which you didn't have to race swap.
Right.
It's just so unnecessary, and it's like you want it to fail. Like, who's this shit for?
Like, I feel like there's every once in a while there is the exception, like Samuel L. Jackson for Nick Fury. Like,
yeah, that would
although
be.
I think there was an iteration of Nick Fury that was black prior to that. In I think it was the Ultimate series of the comics, if I recall correctly. So they were just basing off of that. It's like, hey, that was pre-established too.
You know what's the difference?
And
I think
who doesn't love Samuel L. Jackson? He's like, it's
Literally.
like he was born for that role, just like he was born for Mace Windu.
I think there's also one more factor.
Roles.
Like for example, with Nick Fury,
Mhm.
at the time we weren't aware of all this woke shit. Like, it wasn't really a thing in the mainstream at all.
Right.
And now
We're
when
actually focusing on story at that time.
but the thing is, now it's agenda based. Then it was just okay. Now you simply know it's always agenda based. That's the thing. Then you didn't know, and it probably wasn't. That's the thing. So you just flew past everyone without a problem. But now when they do something like that, it's so obvious. You can't pretend it's just like someone didn't know better and they just it's always agenda driven now. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But then even if it was, no one knew about it, basically. And the internet was quite quiet about it.
A few comments to catch up on here. All right, so let's start from 704. There we had Zim saying what he had been brainstorming on his own Star Wars timeline, one where the prequel era Jedi Order has a spiritual revival and debating the Galactic Republic having a civic revival. I wonder how similar that's meant to be with like what we're kind of doing too with ours, and what some of the others out there that are doing with some of their AI series. I mean, like just for my clarity, Zim, do you mean like wait, are you talking about the prequel order era? Wait, the order from the prequel era, or the order afterwards, but being like the prequel era order and having a revival? I'm a little confused there. Because I can know that the way Luke in the EU reintroduces the Jedi to the galaxy, he brings them to a lot more down-to-earth type mentality that was theoretically less corruptible. Basically, this is where I say either we could call Luke Chosen One, Gen 2, or rather he is the balance that Anakin brought, or the other piece of the balance that Anakin brought to the galaxy by reforming or creating a new Jedi Order that was everything that was what Anakin was supposed to reform the previous Jedi Order into. in the first place, but he destroyed it. So I wonder if that might be along the lines of what you're talking about there. So yeah, I remember watching a few of the deep dive lore videos on what really was Anakin as the chosen one supposed to do, because it was supposed to be more than just kill Palpatine. Like, he was technically actually supposed to do that when he had the chance to in Revenge of the Sith, but he didn't. And he was supposed to reform the Jedi Order, make it more personable again, restore having families in the Jedi Order, and getting away from all this turning a blind eye to corruption going on worlds that were part of the Republic, like what Dooku was seeing and trying to bring forth to the Council in Tales of the Jedi. As flawed as that series is, that was one particular aspect I found to be actually pretty good. Yeah.
Sorry, my dog just.
No,
Just-
all good.
just
I'm
needed
actually
to-
surprised neither of my cats has made a guest appearance over here, because usually one of them, especially Ahsoka, will jump up onto my lap at some point.
Ahsoka, huh?
Yeah. I
Nice.
have Lord Vader / Anakin and Ahsoka / Snips.
This here is, if you can see him. Oh, this is Maximilian Veers. Just let me get this. What the hell did I do now? Okay. Yeah, his name is Maximilian. I didn't give the name. Although it would be kind of cliche if it was Commander Cody or Rex as well. That sounds good.
Now we've got
Anyway,
Hector.
One more.
Hector.
What? Oh,
We got
you
a
wanna-
comment from Hector here. So, Lighthouse mission at Bellingham, Bellingham, Washington, is it? Kind of Jedi Temple looking thing. If you want to check it out, I wonder if that's the thing I stumbled upon on TikTok a few weeks ago. Some fan film is in progress somewhere. I'm not entirely sure.
You know, you guys would probably have a blast filming where I live, because I'll show you why right now. We have a huge fortress from the 18th century. Austro-Hungarian. No, actually, it was probably 19th century Austro-Hungarian fortress. I'll show you what it looks like.
And he just confirmed that, yeah, he meant over in Washington State. That's cool. That's far away from me, because I'm over in I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Western New York. So suburbs over here. Not anywhere near New York City. For those who are watching this and do not know, there's an entire 90-ish% of the entire New York State that is actually not part of New York City. That is one teensy little chunk right there.
By the way, I just wanted to push in regarding the filming locations. This is what I have about a few kilometers from where I live. You guys would have a blast filming there because of the locations and everything. Just imagine Jedi Praxium, Yavin, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's huge, basically.
Yeah.
And it's open for free all the time.
It's open for free all the time?
Yeah, you can go there anytime. And you have lots of layers and even catacombs.
Come to think of it, I actually do wonder if one or two of the Saber Comp entries that I've seen over the past couple of years actually did utilize that. Maybe. I'll have to double check, but definitely something that looked quite a bit like that.
It's actually one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest fortresses in the world and the most underused ones ever created, because no one ever attacked it. Basically, created by Austro-Hungary in the 19th century, never even had a battle there or something like that. So it's very well preserved. And ironically, since it's across the city from where I live, basically you have catacombs that go below, underneath the river, the Danube River. So there's like plenty of stuff there regarding filming locations, and it's all, as you've seen, it's covered by moss, like across the walls and everything.
That's cool.
It really looks like a Yavin type terrain. So yeah.
Yeah, with all the nice plant growth over the walls. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
We have there's some cool stuff here too.
Okay.
And then over where Mike Starwalker is at, over in Texas, there's a mission over there that's huge and perfect. There's another section that we have not yet filmed in as part of the Yavin Praxium. I imagine we might be utilizing that this time around, because like basically our next episode is actually basically part 2 of that attack on Yavin. And then we're also, of course, working on 3 prequel episodes that build up to that attack in the first place. Because, I mean, just minor spoilers. This doesn't even count as a real spoiler. What we did with Rising Dawn is basically a quick side destination that Kyle makes just after visiting Baron's Head and fighting Yun. So that's basically where we are. Kyle has fought Yun and spared him, just as that happens in the video game, but finds out that there is a copy of, or technically kind of a copy of the map that Jarek doesn't want anyone getting. And that's why the holocron on Yavin is so crucial to them. They want to stop us from getting that so we could catch up. If we don't already know where the Valley of the Jedi is. So that's kind of where that all fits in. So now we've got a, let's see here. Okay, so he clarified that his idea was for, like, literal, a reimagining of the prequel era Jedi Order having a spiritual revival. Okay, from Even Nova 95 fanfic.
Have you heard about that? It's one of the OG Star Wars channels on YouTube. Like way before, like
I've heard the name of Even Nova 95, but I do not have familiarity with that video.
I think he made the channel like 2010, probably. So he's like before even before the OG Star Wars YouTubers, basically, because they started calling Theory, Explain, Stupendous Wave, even us, they call us the OG ones because there are a lot of new ones. Yep. But he was like, Evanova, Jen Sarai, and a few others are like the OGest ones ever. Making Versus series, probably. You probably heard about those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, here we
have next.
Fizzy there. I have the second and third books, and I've listened to a little bit of it. One of my teammates, who is even more of a lore expert than I am. Like I'm still a novice. There's so much that I still have not yet gotten to read. It's so vast, it's huge, and I have to dedicate a lot more time to creating than I can to reading. Otherwise, a lot of crap is not going to get done, and we're behind as it is. But we did acquire books 2 and 3 out of the Dark Forces. And I did bookmark the audio, so that way when I have some of these upcoming long drives and plane rides, I can listen to them.
By the way, I have a question for the chat. It's regarding our conversation about the Yoda lightsaber, the gold one. Does anyone know where specifically that piece of lore is mentioned? I've known that for about 10 years at least. But apparently Yoda gives Q-Ron, the so-called master of Kyle Katarn, in a sense, more of a Force Ghost master or something like that. But does anyone know where that is actually mentioned? Which novel, audio drama, or whatever, or Star Wars Insider, where Yoda actually gives Q-Ron a lightsaber, a gold lightsaber? It's not specified if it's a gold hilt or a gold blade, but it just says gold lightsaber. I'm assuming it's a blade type. Does anyone in the comments know?
sure someone will. I'm sure someone will turn up at some point. But yeah, that's actually one of the other reasons why we have in our reimagined Dark Forces here, Kyle is wielding a basically golden bladed saber staff. We rearranged a bit of what Huron used and what he passed down.
Because technically in the EU canon, Kyle Katarn's blue lightsaber is his third one already. The first one being the one he's given by Huron, the second one is Yun's lightsaber, which is destroyed in Dark Forces, and then he makes... Actually, he also has one other, which is orange, bladed from Mysteries of the Sith.
Right, which I think that's really just a matter of a color inconsistency that they did in the video game.
Maybe.
I think it was kind of a tactical error, really, that they made it orange suddenly.
It's cool.
So we tried to go in between that and just make, the gold or amber blade, because I felt, okay, this is coming from that crystal, or in this case, 2 crystals, to power it up as a staff, in our reinterpretation. Because that reminds me. While we're here, I might as well just brief a little bit more on why else did we, besides the fact that we didn't want to play Kyle Katarn getting either saber staff or twin sabers when we got Academy in our hands way back in 2003, is the fact that Kyle becomes Battle Master, and the prerequisite requirement for that is he has to have a proficiency in literally every saber form. That would include proficiency in twin sabering as well as staffs. It doesn't have to be a full-blown mastery by any means. Who can really master, a whole plethora of forms within a lifetime, unless they're of Yoda species living 800-900 years to do so. So, and again, our further understanding of Kyle is he's a very aggressive fighter. So using a staff, he would get from what I can gather from Kyle, is he would have gotten actually very fond of utilizing a staff, because the amount of strength that you get to put in both your blocks and your strikes by nature by having that kind of leverage. Kyle, one thing I remember noting very distinctly, he prefers one body, one hilt overall to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't really matter if it's the extended but regular single hilt or the big double that we ended up going with. From Saberforge, which I think that particular design, the Cleric, was actually the inspiration behind the Cal Kestis design, because that design actually came from Saberforge well before Jedi Fallen Order even existed or entered development.
Mm-hmm.
But to let everyone rest easy, you will see plenty of action of our Kyle with a single saber as well throughout things. He uses the staff as a tool applicable to certain situations.
I have one question regarding the editing of the lightsabers.
Yes.
In what way do you actually edit them? So I take it they're basically, you're using actual NeoPixel lightsabers, right?
No, we're using baselit. Because
baselit.
They are all baselit. Every once in a while, we probably will use NeoPixel, especially when we go into our other series that's not Star Wars at all, and it's using the those flat sci-fi blades, like those sci-fi katanas that are NeoPixel and stuff like that. That series is called Dead Reckoning. It's basically, think of Star Wars and Resident Evil put together. You've got zombies being used for dark shadow government purposes, and you've got technology that is similar to Star Wars, but more grounded, more this is Earth trying to get to where Star Wars is. But
Isn't Dead Reckoning the tank thing from Land of the Dead of George A. Romero? If you ever watched it, the zombie.
I'm not familiar with that.
George A. Romero made the OG zombie trilogy: Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and Night of the Living Dead, and this was like a 2005 movie, like kind of a sequel of sorts. They had this tank thing for killing zombies called Dead Reckoning, so I thought it was
Interesting. Yeah, I know that we also had Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
that's also called that way.
Yeah,
forgot about that.
That one and the second one, those movies were friggin' great, very intense. I feel like that franchise is one of those few where the movies either got better and better, or they at least were just consistently frickin' great. Ever since the third movie, I have to rewatch the second before I can reevaluate it. All I remember is seeing it when I was in my early teens. I was bored, but like I was an early teenager. There was stuff that I probably didn't quite get. Maybe.
By the way, with the lightsabers, what I meant, what editing do you do with them?
Oh, so
what exactly edited it over?
Yeah, I'm not going to give away a whole lot of detail here because that's going to be more for the tutorial video. But yeah, basically the type of editing that we do, it takes full advantage of the self-lit lightsabers. Like I would never ever go back to like the old metal blades that they had to use back during the prequel era of filming.
You don't have to. That's the thing.
Yeah, we don't have to. And on top of that, it would irrelevantize the new method that we have to bring the effect to life. Having the real light coming from them in that practical sense complements what we're doing, and it makes them trackable in a way that the other old method is not so trackable. Yeah,
you actually reminded me. Me and Todd recorded a short 30-second lightsaber duel scene, first person actually. So basically, I was holding a phone camera like this and dueling with one hand, and everything else is basically just sound effects after it. No, there is no special effects or anything. I never released it, but I was thinking maybe people would want to see it, because the thing is, with these lightsabers today that we have, which they didn't have when they were making the prequels and the originals, on camera, for some reason, the lightsaber looks absolutely real already.
Yes, I can tell you why.
That's like the biggest bonus you have there. Yep. So I'm gonna share this. Oh.
Yep. Yeah, okay. I can share to you exactly the technical reason why with some cameras they look real right off the bat. You don't have to do any effects, and why with other cameras you have to still complete it with effects.
Anyway, here it is for anyone who didn't see it. It's not fully finished, but I'm just gonna, show something I never showed before.
That's really cool. The funny thing is we've actually had some thought in actually implementing some first-person shooter shots here and there. So we do have a good, we have an Osmo Action 4 at our disposal, but at this point I think we'd snag an Action 6. But yeah, to do a little bit of that nod to the feel of the first-person perspective in Jedi Knight or / Dark Forces 2 and Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy. Between the saber combat, the use of the Briar pistol, I definitely see where a lot of fans would have been like, "Oh, this is so cool! I feel like I'm living the game now again." I'd love to give that to them too, where it fits. So we may
like a Doom game, first person scene.
But yeah, now the reason why some cameras, with some cameras, the lightsabers can look real right off the bat is because low dynamic range versus high dynamic range. With low dynamic range, the brights of the image get pushed right up into white, so the core of the lightsabers becomes completely bright white very quickly. On a low dynamic range camera, or even the lowest of the high dynamic range cinema cameras out there, being like, say, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K or 6K, which those still, I mean, like, actually the lowest of high dynamic range technically are the ones with 12 stops of dynamic range. So that'd be like the Panasonic GH5 and GH5S and quite a few others in there. They're like at that lowest, that minimal spot of what can qualify as cinema grade, whereas Blackmagic's 4K and 6K are just like boop, next level up, but unbelievable amount of more flexibility still anyways. But then we went up, you see, we started, okay, 2023? No, 2022. We filmed Skywalker, Shadows of Evil. Me and Mike Starwalker collaboratively. That was our first big collab. And we saw that right away. I was using the Pocket 6K, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. Right off the bat, 90% of the shots, the lightsabers looked real. Some, we had to crank up the highlights in post. And one or two, I had to trace over the blades a little bit, wrote over them. But that was it. Other than that, they looked real right off the bat. But then the next year, I switched over to the Fujifilm X-H2S, which boasted another one to... They modestly boasted only one more stop with dynamic range. So versus the Blackmagic's, the 6K Pro's 13.5 stops, the Fuji was boasting 14, but really in reality, I think it was more like 15. Like Fuji was apparently actually modest about their claim, which most companies are not. That additional amount of dynamic range, you could see the plastic core on lightsabers all over again. But you know, that's just also that's reflective of the fact that this is showing more detail in your highlights and shadows, your bright areas and your dark areas of your image more. So you're getting closer to that. No, you're actually getting directly into that true Hollywood cinema camera territory. Basically, these Fujifilm cameras have been compared directly to Arri Alexas and Reds, and people are just like, they're right up there. You could literally mix footage with these and those. No one will know the difference. And the same actually is in most cases, even with the Blackmagics. Even though their dynamic range is a little lower, you can still squeeze things in post to match them right up. I would know, since I also...
Not only it's so much easier today, literally.
Yeah, and I got to do it so much.
The thing is, how much do the cameras you guys use cost?
The Fujifilm cameras that we use right now are $2,500 MSRP. I got them for $500 off each back at the time. Overstock dealer in Hong Kong on eBay had them available. I bet they still do. I bet they still get them at a low price, where you can get them for probably $400 or $500 less than the MSRP. But the XHS3 or XH3S is very likely right around the corner this year. So I would advise people hold off until that, or get the Nikon ZR. Or here's a really big and interesting one: the Blackmagic, or the Nexus G1, which is a this group in Australia, so same country as Blackmagic. They take the Blackmagic 6K cameras, they rehouse them into a super advanced box cinema style camera that has extremely advanced features across the board. Like, it is everybody's dream camera in terms of aesthetics, controls, everything, built-in NDs. You can jump to literally any kind of lens mount possible now with it. It's wild what these guys have done with it. My only problem is that, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the Fuji sensor, and I want that Fuji sensor because the thing that got me to jump to Fuji was the sensor is so damn fast that it could practically self-identify as a global shutter sensor. So all our saber swinging at full speed doesn't get all that warpy, wavy, bendy look in full motion from that sensor the way it does from the Blackmagic and 90-some% of all other camera sensors out there. Global shutter, it's like all instant readout, right? So you don't get warp. If you have a rolling shutter, you're probably going to get warp. But if you have a hyper fast rolling shutter like in the Fuji or in the Nikon ZR, again, practically no warp, no noticeable warp, and you're fine. So it's great for action. And yeah, that's why we went with it. That's why we had that switch and discovered the heart rate. Oh crap, now we have to go back to actually rotoing the blades, but thank God I found that new method I'm going to show very soon. Probably.
How soon do you think it's going to be out?
I think next Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Maybe even halfway through this week. I don't know. It just depends on how quickly I can reshoot the tutorial section of it and voiceover.
You know, while editing fan films and stuff like that over the years, one of the things that I find to be the hardest to do and to balance out is the audio of the scenes.
Yeah, that is tough. Yeah.
Like,
I have tips on that.
right now, I wanted to finish some. I was making a short film on a canceled Darth Maul game from like 15 years ago, of basically Darth Maul and Darth Talon, Legacy era, like 130 years after the Battle of Yavin. And basically, the thing with it, I have like 10 layers of sounds beneath the scenes, with lightsaber sounds, hums, and everything, blaster shots. So it's basically like if this here is the line for the visual part of the video, I have like 50 layers beneath it with sound. How do you balance out editing that stuff? Because the lightsaber is really hard to get right. With every, like, do you emphasize the sound on every move it does? Because I usually have a tendency to do that, and it's really complicated. It takes forever.
Yeah.
Or do you just do it when it's an actual like attack sound or something like that? If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
How much emphasis do you do on the hums of every single move, or do you just focus on the actual really
depends on the amount of movement as well as how close is the camera, the perspective in the respective shot. Because like if the camera is like really close up, like if it's doing an actual one of those iconic close-ups of someone's fully activated saber hilt, and
then you want to hear it
in the background of the image, you want to hear that hum nice and loud right then and there, of course. But during the actual action, I'm less concerned about the static hum, but the swinging hum. Obviously, we got to have that. We got to have all those whooshes and everything that are in there.
You know what's also I've also noticed, because ever since I started editing stuff like that, when I watch the movies, for example, if you watch the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, they don't really focus so much on the sounds if you really look at it, because the music really covers it up.
Yes.
How much they have.
Oh yeah,
how much
it
they
does
have
get
to do.
drowned right out. The hums. Most of the whooshes are definitely there, but that's mostly with the really high, which granted the vast majority of their swings are high energy, extreme force, speed going on in those.
But you don't really hear it so much because of the music. Because, for example, the clip I showed with me dueling against Darth Nihilus in it.
Yeah, although it depends also on your sound system. It does depend on how much your sound system is able to convey to you. It's like, on my computer speakers, yeah, I'm not always going to hear it so good. But then on my surround sound system, oh yeah, I can hear it.
The thing is, I have a need to make every single swing for you to actually hear it. But when I watch the movies, they don't do that. They never did it that much. I basically overdo it. Sure, I like how it sounds at the end, but it's a pain in the ass working with lightsabers.
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice then would be to save yourself time. Put the music on early, so that way you can start getting the perspective immediately of, wait a minute, this hum is not even going to have an impact here. It sure as hell is not going to have an impact in these areas over here either. Drop it. Don't bother. Just worry about the hits and the very hard whooshes, and that's it. That's part of what I've had to do. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to maybe just put like one of those long 30-second long continuous hums in there in the background, but just put it a little low so that way it's like it's there, but it's not enough to feel out of place.
By the way, since it's Easter and the resurrection is already upon us almost, I thought I'd share something, and it's not an ad this time. It's not an ad for my lightsaber store at all. Oh, is that Ahsoka?
This is Lord Vader.
Ah, doesn't.
Yep. Yep,
You know, it really reminds me.
He
I used to have a black cat like 5 years ago, and she died, and I never got over it. I still have 2 left. I used to have 5. Now I have 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I have two cats and my dojo right here. You can't really see him on the camera, but you never get over it. She was called Bella because a completely black cat had 1 whisker which was white.
Huh.
And we called her Bella because of that, because in Serbian, Bella means white, technically.
Ah.
So because of that 1 white whisker, she was called that way. But anyway, beside the point, since it's the resurrection, I want to share one more thing. It's very short, and it's not an ad like the other one is. This is made... Do you think we need a crusade? Do you think we need another crusade?
Oh boy, I don't want a war right now. And
No, not a war, a crusade, a holy war. Just joking. Because from my perspective here in Europe, I think we really need to crusade away, like 10 years ago, basically. We have a huge migrant problem.
Yeah, the kind of attacks that are going on over there and everything. Yeah, that's.
You know what's the best part about it? They get away with everything here in Europe. They can do whatever they want, but the population of countries here gets screwed for it every time. Mm-hmm. So with that said...
Assemble the army.
That is pretty cool. Yep.
I really enjoyed. Also filmed with a phone. And the lightsabers always look so realistic on camera. Especially at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like no special effects, anything, you just turn it on, that's it, basically.
Yep. Yeah, that's the other part of the whole thing with getting the lightsaber effects to look real is that they it's when you're filming in a low light situation, like in the dark of night. Because if you're filming in broad daylight, you're gonna see the plastic tubes. You're not even gonna see. Well, maybe you'll see some of the color, but it's not gonna look good. It's not gonna look great. However, it's still trackable for the new method that I'm introducing soon.
So they basically put the burden of editing only on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a bit, because I know how much it takes. It takes so long sometimes to get it all right.
Yeah, but thank God it's like once you see this method, I mean, the only con to it right now is that you have to have After Effects for the method. I hope that there is a way that I just don't know about to get DaVinci Resolve Studio to do it as well. But I'm gonna have to leave that for another time of deep dive exploration into the Fusion tab. I hate the Fusion tab. I am not used to the node interface in that. I'm fluent with the node interface in the color tab of DaVinci Resolve Studio, but Fusion, forget it. I'm such a noob at that one, and I've had no time to screw with it. So, yeah. Now we definitely have a few to catch up on here.
Someone's mentioning the Yoda lightsaber, Fizzy 4877.
Figured someone was gonna.
Although the thing is, we don't know where it's exactly from which piece of Star Wars media we get that info. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's only a few options. You have the Dark Forces novel or the audio drama, and probably one last thing would be Star Wars Insider 81, if not mistaken, which says in the legend for Huron, for example, everywhere where he's mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably somewhere there, but I'm really not sure.
No. Now going back a little bit though, there was Michael Michael earned it. 19, saying Luke Skywalker was a hero to me as a child. Been reading the EU. I'm disgusted as what they did. Yeah, disgusted with what they did to him. Only one they didn't destroy was Ahsoka, which hurts so much. Like I agree with I agree with that 90% of the way. 100% on the Luke part. Ahsoka, I slightly disagree because I actually feel that they've made Ahsoka herself boring in the latest material. So yeah, they haven't actually destroyed her, but they've unfortunately, I think, exhausted the character.
Too many shows with her.
Yeah,
too much.
She's too freaking stiff, not just in the choreography, but honestly in her portrayal of the character's personality. I mean,
the thing is with her and Hayden, with Rosario Dawson and Hayden dueling, you can see that he's leagues above her when it comes to physicality and the duel. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, it shows, and just really the writing for her has been boring. We'll have to go into detail on another time where we can just rip the Ahsoka show apart. Like, here's the thing: I loved the premise of the Ahsoka show, like the general concept, but the execution was terrible, in my opinion. It was slow. It was too slow paced, for the wrong reasons. Like, you can have something slow paced, like Walking Dead, like the first season of that, the first 2 seasons of that.
Oh yeah, that was great. I loved it.
They were slow paced for proper developmental reasons, right? But the Ahsoka show, they just had too much fluff, just pointless fluff. Sabine getting stabbed and then being okay the next day was like idiotic. And then just suddenly, all of a sudden, she's got force ability. Like, no.
It was basically a lore breaking, since in Star Wars Rebels you see nothing of that sort.
Yeah. It was so stupid.
And I find it really ridiculous that they actually made it be that anyone can use the Force at this point.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
like
so stupid. Oh, and then also
strong women gotta use the Force.
Yeah, as if we didn't really have them without crapping on other characters or breaking lore.
Of course not.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone says, think Ahsoka would have been better if she was Plo Koon's Padawan. You know, that's fair. However, I mean, like, I loved the whole aspect of Anakin having Ahsoka as a Padawan. Like, the banter was hilarious, and the overall development was really good in that big brother, little sister dynamic that they had. And then her leaving, and ultimately the council blaming Anakin. Like, they should have still promoted him to master technically, and everyone knows it. It gave all the more validity to Anakin's disdain for the council.
Oh yeah, dude was pissed.
They crapped on him when it's like, clearly she earned that level of knight. She just declined taking it. But
what about the episodes where Obi-Wan was killed?
Those were cool.
Remember how pissed he was then?
Oh yeah.
Well, another reason.
That was great. I mean, several key arcs in that show I love, but there's a huge portion of it that I'm like, a lot of this is just fluff, and would have been better off with time being spent integrating a lot more of the EU Clone Wars into there and merging the two, taking all the best ideas from that and marrying it into there. But
there's one thing I've noticed actually over the years, something anyone actually didn't. We used to not view things like this is filler or this is the main story like 15 years ago. Like, I remember when watching the Clone Wars, it was the only piece of Star Wars you were going to get. And at the time, you enjoyed every episode of it for the most part, at least like I did, for example. And today we look at it from a different lens, because if Clone Wars was coming out today, I would probably be very critical of most of the episodes, because every time they do a filler, as we would call it today, it would get heavily criticized. I already know myself, so I'm guessing that would happen. But then, because it wasn't really the age of cameo fests and remember this and remember this and key jingling and crap like that at the time, but over the past 10 years, like for example, Clone Wars does a lot of things that Disney Star Wars is constantly doing today, but it was passable at the time because that was all you were going to get. And it wasn't really a focus on member berries at the time. They were just doing their thing. But today, every time they bring something back, some other character from somewhere in Star Wars, it's basically key jingling. Nothing else. Like, for example, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Oh, remember Rod the Hutt? Yeah, sure. Embo, remember him, remember this, remember that. It's just, it has become cheap crap. I remember with Rogue One, when Rogue One came out, you can technically call Rogue One a cameo fest at this point. But at the time when it came out, it felt fresh and it didn't feel that way. But they took that formula and simply did it constantly for the past 10 years. And now I fucking hate that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly bringing some characters and putting it all together and making just cameo after cameo after cameo. Remember this, remember that. It's zero substance.
Service crap. Yeah, and then the way that they introduced Quinlan Voss in the Clone Wars series. This is he's such a dumb character in that one when it's like they had such great material to base him off of from the original comics. I've only seen a little glimpse of it. And I'm like, yeah, like even as someone
it should have been a lot darker.
Yeah, I was not even familiar with him because I hadn't really at that time been all that familiar with the EU Clone Wars, but even then I was like, okay, this guy's just kind of an idiot. Like, what's the deal here? And then next thing I'm hearing from tons of people is, yeah, they butchered his character. He was so much better in the comics. I'm like, that's surprising. Yeah,
double agent stuff. They kind of did that with Dark Disciple, the novel that continues the story arc with him and Asajj Ventress. But yeah, the original thing regarding if I were to criticize anything about the Clone Wars, which I really do love, I would definitely change the thing about Quinlan Voss that was vastly superior in the EU, especially that part there. Yeah. Like, no question at all. And a few other things, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the
Umbara arc. Remember the Umbara arc. Umbara.
Wait, I'm sorry.
The Umbara arc with the Clone Wars. With the clone, Pong Krell, the Jedi.
Yes, Pong Krell.
That was peak. Like,
that was an excellent arc. That one, I loved just about everything with Maul. And
when Sidious kills Savage, that was a really epic battle for animation that did more than almost anything live action in the past 15 years. That duel, and it was only animation.
That was freaking great. That, and then just expanding upon the rivalry between Maul and Obi-Wan, and Maul killing Obi-Wan's third love interest, because yes, the other two were from the Jedi books. Cersei from book 5, right? Book 5 of Jedi Apprentice way back. I actually remember that, the redhead. And then then we had Siri Tachi, who was the Jedi chick that he was secretly in a relationship with. She hated him at first, because before the EU got canned. Here's the funny thing: these books actually got recanonized by Disney, but again, like Disney, personally, Disney does not get to call what canon is anymore.
Yeah, fuck that.
They forfeited that right the moment that they butchered Luke and turned him into a pussy.
Did you know that Kyle Katarn is technically officially canon since 2016? Did you know that? Go to Wikipedia.
According to
type Kyle Katarn and go to the canon section. So basically what they did, they just said, oh, Kyle Katarn, yeah, he's canon, and there's nothing about it.
There's nothing about him because they're waiting for the right moment to write him in as a whiny little beta crybaby or something like that.
They did the same thing with Ram Koda as well, from The Force Unleashed, if you know, the so-called older Jedi Master survivor of Order 66. They basically, in the Kenobi series, which I think is the greatest heresy of all, I fucking hate that show. Like, the Kenobi series did more it's sequel level crap in my opinion. The Kenobi series.
That series was so, in its original form, it was a straight up terrible. In the Patterson cut, at least made it at least somewhat tolerable to me to a degree, because he cut out literally 1.5 hours. Ahsoka is where he got to cut out 2.5 or 3.5 hours of garbage. But the Patterson cut was actually like decent in my opinion. Still not worth being canon, but it was at least
because Obi-Wan and Vader are not supposed to meet each other at all.
Yeah, it's better that it's a 19-year solid gap.
Better, much better.
Yeah, and
the thing is,
I think the Pixel Joker edit is actually going to make that a psychological or through the Force visions type deal fight, where they don't meet in person, and they don't even not know for sure if one of them is actively fighting the others in a connected mutual vision. I don't know.
You mean like in Clone Wars Season 6 with Yoda and Sidious on Coruscant, that Force vision type thing?
That kind of thing, yeah.
That would basically be the only plausible solution to actually do something like that without totally wrecking lore. Yeah. And even that would be kind of a cheap shot because they already did it in the Clone Wars. I liked it there. That was fun, really. Mm-hmm. It didn't break lore, in my opinion. It was really fun. Although if it was actually real, it would be really lore breaking. But that's like the only way you can do that, or just don't do it at all. The thing is, in the Obi-Wan series, that the underground, what they call it, with the Jedi hiding, I remember they canonized Ram Koda from The Force Unleashed by having an engraving of his name on the wall somewhere in the background in Orabesh. And that's like, oh, Ram Koda is now canon. Fuck you. Like, fuck you. What the fuck's that? Really? Like, unbelievable. Like, cheap crap.
And then we had Marak in the Ahsoka show get overhyped as potentially Starkiller, like a rendition of Starkiller that was compatible.
It's just better if they just leave it alone, literally.
Yeah, like just leave us fans. We will take care at some point or another of bringing in a great Starkiller. Which means we'll have to come up with more personality for him too, though. But
you'd basically, I think, Force Unleashed 3 would have been a good thing. Why the hell not? I heard it was going to be about him and Vader stranded somewhere and forced to team up to survive. Sounds fun.
That is an interesting scenario for sure. Yeah.
Let's see some other comments that we have.
Yeah, we gotta get right back to those.
Like so, we have quite a bit.
Some more about Huron. Yeah. So yeah, we're really trying to, give good honor to the whole thing with the gold saber, everything.
Wait, did Pick then take the gold saber for himself? If I'm not mistaken, I'm just gonna check that. Like,
wait, which?
Pick is the smaller one,
the tiny dude, right?
The Kowakian monkey lizard.
Pick and Gork
hybrid.
Right? It was Pick and Gork or something like that?
Yeah. And Pick is the smaller one.
Yeah. I gotta see if I can actually. I've been meaning to test out. I just need to get like a student of mine who's small enough, because like the lowest grade level that I teach, or that even is at my school I teach at, is 6th grade. But it'd be wild if I could actually get someone who's convincingly small enough to be Pick, and then use the AI motion capture and character model replacement. We already tested it on Maw. So we replaced one of our actors with a 3D model of Maw, and AI did that. Like, it actually did it while leaving our other live actor fully intact and everything. So that was really cool of a test. The only issue is that we apparently have to fight slow in order for the AI to deliver a clean character replacement.
And then you just speed it up in
right. So I think what we might be able to do as kind of a cheat code is still fight at full speed for any and all shots that we really can reasonably do so, but just shoot them with a high frame rate for slow-mo, send AI a slow-mo copy of it, and tell it, okay, replace this person with this character model. There we go.
Thing
Give it
is,
that, then we speed it back up.
basically in the duel with the nihilist clip that me and Todd made out of fun, it's actually filmed much slower than you see it.
Mhm.
Because every time we swing, I press the button since we're using the Neo Pixel lightsabers.
That's another thing
Every-
that's about with
yeah.
a lot of sabers.
That's the way you can get the effects without really doing the special effects afterwards. Because every time you hit, you press it and you have a flash as if it hit it.
Oh,
And-
it doesn't just have the clash or the flash on clash.
It does, but it doesn't always give it to you the way you want it. You know.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
when you
You should
but
be
when
able
you
to
press
change
it, you'll get it every single time. So we simply did it that way and just sped it up, put some sound effects, and there you go. Simple as that, literally.
Okay. Next comment here.
Okay, this is very interesting. The Star Wars tales from the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, like the OG comics.
No.
Is that what they mean? I'm just gonna check that. Okay, it came out in 2000. So Yoda has a gold lightsaber there. You know, that's actually very fitting for a Grandmaster of the Jedi Order. I like that idea a lot. Like, such a great concept.
The whole gold saber idea. It feels like something it's meant for some.
It's so
kind of
EU. And have you noticed in Dark Forces, which I always found quite funny in a way, have you noticed that some of the powers that they use, you literally never see anything like it anywhere in Star Wars, because they always have this color. Like Yun has this gold yellow force push. Like, what is that? Or Jarek has this red thing, whatever the hell that is. It's not force light.
Yeah, and he force uses Q-Ron.
That's like so 90s Star Wars.
Yeah.
What they imagined some advanced force things would look like. They just give it color, you know.
Yeah. And then
As
there's
we
the spear of, I forgot what.
Spear of Midnight Black.
That's it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like I imagine him spawning like a spear type thing, as if it's like a Venom symbiote, you know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's how I imagine it, with some white.
Or maybe
probably.
cloudy instead of slimy. But
Yeah. And then he just throws it with the force like a spear. Such a cool concept.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna implement the Spear of Midnight Black?
I think we'd be doing a very serious disservice if we didn't.
It'll be such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget about the red flash of Jarek, whatever the hell that is. It knocks you over, but he just goes like this, or whatever.
Yeah, I had to rewatch like what was the context of that, what was the result? Because I know that one was a force push, another was him force freezing Q-Ron.
The thing is, I really don't. I think that the Yun yellow force thing is basically a force push, kind of.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to give some kind of special effect emphasis to it, kind of like how in Darth Maul Apprentice, that fan film from 2016, which I've long considered to be the greatest Star Wars fan film, or fan film of any sort of all time, in terms of its just top-notch quality. Yeah, they gave a very slight light to the force pushes in that, which I honestly wish that actually was a thing in the movies in the first place. Was instead of a completely invisible thing, I like seeing just a wee bit of just a little white glow or something to it, you know. But I mean, either way, ultimately it works, obviously. Yeah.
Do you want to
one about the idea of the red synthetic crystals in the EU? The comment here, the idea of red synthetic crystals in the EU so much better than the crappy bleeding of the. Now, one thing I don't quite understand is, okay, look, I hate like 95% of what Disney comes up with, but I always felt like the bleeding was actually something that goes fine in addition to the synthetic, because like the whole bleeding ritual, at least in its original form, before they decided to have OSHA establish lightsabers and their crystals as mood crystals, like a girl on that time of the month having the mood octopus thing in the TikTok videos. I felt like the concept of the bleeding was even more Sith-like in the first place, because it was a very dark thing. It's just the overall darkness of it was darker than just simply synthesizing some new crystals. It's like, really, what's dark?
It's kind of satanic in a way.
Yeah,
that's how it feels.
And that's very, I think, in line with the Sith mentality, and
it's like they're adrenochroming the lightsaber.
Yeah. So I mean, our original plan was, with what we were doing, especially with the Reborn Warriors, was we were going to do both. That, those who are really, really dedicated into the Sith religion, they would bleed, but we've ultimately abandoned it because of we had just heard that basically the further you disconnect your fan films from Disney, the more likely it is that Disney will leave you alone, and we want to be left alone.
The thing is, if you become too successful, then you're screwed anyway.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
So I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll just scrap that idea. We'll stick with the synthetic, but I'm just saying, like, bleeding thing was actually, in my opinion, actually cool until it became a mood saber. Then it became cringe as frick. It went from dark as frick to cringe as frick. So, well, leave it to Disney to do that.
Definitely.
But maybe understand Whitwer, though, with him now being evidently, not confirmed, but evidently on no leash by Kathleen Kennedy or any other idiot over in Lucasfilm, Disney. I think that Darth Maul show actually has a shot at being something really good. And you see, the thing I like about something having a shot at being really good coming from this era of Disney is if it's pre-original trilogy era and therefore has no contingency on building up to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, the sequel trilogy has no relevance to it. So as long as they keep it that way, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get to enjoy this. If it's actually great, I'll feel no guilt in enjoying it. Just like, Andor had no contingency on it. I'd still prefer that things would have been, if they, with Andor, compatible with the first Dark Forces, where Kyle is the one who actually stole the Death Star plans.
I actually did a video on that like 10 years ago. And the thing is, without specifically mentioning some things when you look through the material, it can work if you want both.
Yeah.
And you know why specifically? Because in the EU, Kyle Katarn isn't the only person stealing plans for the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
You have this Twi'lek chick as well, if I'm not mistaken. You have this ex-girlfriend of Han Solo, Brianna, what's her name? You have about 5 people. Even X2 from the canceled Battlefront 3 game, which was released as a PSP game eventually. In that storyline, X2 is like a clone. Have you heard about that storyline by any chance? X1 and X2 are like some clones of a Jedi during the Clone Wars. When Order 66 happens, one defects, and they're both Force sensitive. So X1 becomes a commander or something like that in the Empire, and X2 becomes a Jedi eventually under Ram Koda in a way. So he's basically part of the rebellion. And they also, right before the Battle of Yavin, they steal some parts of the plan as well. And also in the old Battlefront 2 game, in the 2005 game, the rebels escaping the Death Star also steal parts of the plan. So technically you have like 10 different storylines where some parts of the plan are stolen, and we can just add that the key parts would be from Andor and Kyle Katarn at the end. You can make it work if you really want to, and I kind of prefer it that way.
Mhm.
But gotta be honest, Andor really kicked ass. I absolutely love that series.
Yeah.
It really rocked.
I literally just finished it like 2 nights ago.
I think the scene that killed me the most was that walk towards the U-wing. That was quite emotional for me.
Yeah.
And I don't get emotion about media at all. That really hit me hard.
Yeah.
Like, when you're watching Rogue One, oh, it's really sad that they all die. When you watch Andor, like, fuck. It's really...
Yeah. Gives it a whole another round of impact when you watch Rogue One again after that. Yep.
I just did that about a few weeks ago with my friend. For some reason, Rogue One seemed so much shorter now when I watched it. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not even 2 hours long. What the hell? But I really enjoy it. It's probably the Andor in Rogue One, and I do love Rebels too. I gotta admit that. It still kind of has that feeling for me with the Clone Wars, even though it's a downgrade, obviously.
Yeah. I love the Mortis. I love the Mortis stuff going on, especially in Clone Wars when we've got the Mortis arc with Anakin. Ahsoka,
that was so good.
I felt, and that's something that we actually intend to work with that, because like it lays a foundation for something bigger in the making. Obviously, Abeloth. For there to be further purpose for the Chosen One, or now the Balancer that he is left in the form of his offspring to take care of. That a Chosen One, or someone carrying the power, the potential of the Chosen One, is the only one to be able to rival that. And I liked the Lothal stuff, or with Mortis and the World Between Worlds.
Yeah, with the ones and the wolves.
That was very mythical.
The thing is, it's hard to believe that Dave Filoni actually made something so good back then.
Yeah.
Despite the animation being much crappier. Yeah. I really like that stuff.
Like, even though a brain malfunction ever since, it's gotten worse.
The thing is, even though that's obviously like a self-insert in a way. Like, for example, Dave Filoni likes wolves, likes the wolf pack, made the wolf pack in Commander Wolf and everything, and always wears the shirt. Likes cowboys, likes a hat.
But
so
it actually fit that kind of legendary feel.
It was
surprisingly.
And then the owl-shaped Mandalorian helmet visors from the female Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did it because his wife loves owls.
Mm-hmm.
That was the inspiration behind that. And then you have the Loth Wolves and stuff like that. Interestingly enough, even though they're all fan fiction self-inserts by him, it really worked well. But now with the Ahsoka show, I see that as a total flop. Like, Baylan Skoll as a character on his own is probably my favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
While Ahsoka and the main characters, the protagonists, are just unfucking watchable.
Yeah, they're like so downgraded in intellect. They've all become a bunch of idiots. Like Sabine, total idiot now. Ahsoka herself,
idiot. Ron, idiot.
Yeah, and then
Ezra I think Ezra was nice.
Sabine wants so much to see Ezra again, and then when she finally reaches him, just instead of diving into his arms as realistically as she would have, they're just like, oh, hey. Like, that was both a combination of terrible writing and terrible acting on that front. Like, what the crap were they thinking with that? And the whole, all of a sudden, Ezra is like, in that transmission from years ago, you were always like a sister to me. Like, bull crap. Bro was hitting on her since season 1 all the way through.
He got friends done real fast.
And some of it was hilarious. Plenty of it was stupid. But it's like, it fit a dumb teenager. It definitely fit a dumb teenager just fine, I guess.
But I think Ezra looks. They found a really good actor for him there. Like the face, the eyes. It was just very well done. Gotta be honest with that.
Yeah.
But the I never did like Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, like from the beginning. Nope. Also, the Leku stuff. The Leku, they shortened that because it was much easier for the actress. For fuck's sake, do your damn job and shut the fuck up. If you don't like the costume, we'll find someone else. Like you can find fans of Ahsoka, female fans who do a much better cosplay than she does, and actually look like the damn character.
Mm-hmm.
And you're complaining about the Leku being too long, dude. Come on.
And there's at least one, if not two, Ahsoka cosplayers I know of who are huge in following and have been since well before the show was even pre-production, that they could have reached out to. One of them, I'm pretty sure, is actually in one of the stupid acting unions. Which
the Ukrainian chick, I think. I think she made a
maybe. I don't think so though. I think one of them is in California and the other is in Tennessee, or I forgot what other state.
No, she's over there for sure, but she's Ukrainian. I think you're talking about her. She made some Commander Bly and Ayla Sakura fan film. Also cosplays her really well, really accurate. It looks quite accurate to the character, so it might be her. But she does look much better like Ahsoka than Rosario Dawson, and also Sabine, like an obvious retcon of her using the Force all of a sudden. Everyone's surviving from a lightsaber blow. Come on, what is this shit?
Yeah, I love all the memes with Qui-Gon being like, "What's this crap?" You know,
Force heal. I mean, you do have Force heal, but if you do it with the movies and no one ever dies, a lightsaber means nothing at this point.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Is it just me, or the past 10 years are full of things being overused and losing absolute meaning completely?
Oh, yeah.
Like, for example, all the ists, isms, and phobes, those words mean nothing now.
Right.
Lightsabers not killing anyone mean nothing now.
Yep.
Actions don't have consequences, and nothing means nothing anymore.
Like, Sabine's stupid decisions in the Ahsoka show, like, okay, obviously we needed her to make those decisions to get to Ezra, right? But Ahsoka just letting it off, like, you know what? Never mind. It's no big deal. Hey, let's take our time riding very slowly over to that castle structure, whatever the hell it is, where Thrawn and the witches are, and we'll casually catch up to them and maybe like kind of engage them in a suddenly urgent battle to stop them from getting to our galaxy. Like, yeah, no consequences for actions, no urgency. I mean, my gosh, like, not to toot my own horn, but put me in charge of something like that. I would have made this as hardcore, intense, and fast-paced appropriately as like any like major, like really good disaster movie or hardcore war movie or on the run type movie, like Bourne Ultimatum or something like that.
You know, the thing is, how much are you versed in The Lord of the Rings, for example?
I'm fairly versed. Like I've read.
What I'm asking is
the first book. I know a lot of the differences between the books and the movies.
The thing is, why I'm asking is, I've noticed, and I actually believe that, for example, you have a comparison between Game of Thrones and The Lord of the Rings, and specifically, I've noticed that the writer's mindset and belief system impacts the story incredibly much, like very much. And then you have Tolkien, who created everything from nothing, literally. Incredible storytelling. He, of course, was a Catholic, had a belief system, believed in meaning in life, wasn't a freaking nihilist, a moral relativist. Then we have George R.R. Martin, who believes in nothing, a freaking nihilist. Dude has like the biggest writer's block I've ever seen. He's never going to finish those books ever, because he himself knows that it's leading to nothing at the end. I believe so. Like, at this point, when you look at modern Hollywood movies and media in general, if a writer doesn't believe that life has meaning, I don't trust them to write a meaningful story. How would they? How on earth do you expect someone who doesn't believe in that life has meaning and is a moral relativist, a nihilist almost, to write something meaningful? And that's why we get constant crap because of that stuff. I believe so, at least. Like, what am I supposed to think? Unbelievable. Really. Like, and then we have Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and whatnot.
Yep. And this is this is why we had quite a few Star Wars movies and shows with literally no build up into some kind of deep meaning, no deep profound meaning or anything.
I've noticed that in almost every aspect of life at the past 10 years. Like, I don't really see a single thing that is better now than it was 10 years ago. It's a constant downfall in almost every aspect, like, especially when it comes to media. But even in real life, like, I can say that I have more money in my pocket today than I had 10 years ago when I go to the store. Like, everything is overpriced. Things are getting worse all the time in some aspects. Like, I better not go down this road because we're gonna end up on the topic of the island man bad stuff due to how shit everything's been going. So I better just drop it right here. Since you're in the US, we don't want to get your ass in trouble, of course. The Empire.
Fizzy said something here. We also had a bleeding in the EU before Disney. When the Sith were making synthetic crystals, they used the Force and focused their hatred of the Jedi to increase the potency. Okay, I like this. Okay, we can obviously implement that when relevant. That can be the distinction between the synthesized crystals for the reborn warriors versus the actual practicing hardcore Sith or Dark Jedi. Is that the reborns just get a generalized synthetic crystal that had literally little to no effort put into forming it, and then the other guys, well, they put their effort into their personal crystals. That definitely.
And Martin has the goal to criticize Tolkien's work. The irony.
Yep.
The irony. Oh, and then we have this.
Oh yeah. And okay. So the Empire were the good guys, and Daniel LaRusso was the real bully too.
You know, it reminds me of the song.
Pretty sure bro was being sarcastic though.
You know the song of Kanye West from last year? It goes something like, "Brother, Merry Christmas. All my brothers, jolly brother, Merry Christmas." It's a AI version of of this. Just type in yay, NHH, and don't ever dare post it on YouTube because you'll get demonetized or banned immediately. It's about the mustache man bad.
Mustache man bad.
You know the Kanye West song from last year. That's what it's about, basically. The Empire were the good guys. That's what he meant by it. But the acceptable version online is "Brother, Merry Christmas." That they just switched the words. It's funny as fuck. So yeah. Well, we've been going on for 2 hours already.
Yeah, and I do have something to be heading out to.
Really? I have to be heading out to sleeping because it's like 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
Jeez.
So, but it's no problem. I'm usually up till 5 for the most part.
Okay, so you're 6 hours ahead of me then. Okay.
Yeah, it's always 6 hours basically.
Yep.
It was always harder to do this stuff from Europe because all of my audience is from the West basically, and I can never hit it at the right time because it just doesn't work out for me from here. Always a constant downgrade. By the way, I've actually been experimenting with some AI crap, as you would say, AI slop. Although I've been
I don't call all AI usage AI slop. If someone cranks out something clean and good, which normally would mean also mixing in live actors or something, or maybe it was something that just didn't even need an actor.
Basically, the only thing that I did there, which wouldn't be considered AI slop, I guess, would be I used. I'm trying to resurrect an old Darth Maul game, in a sense.
Right.
So I've been using Photoshop to basically update the old concept art of the game, which was cancelled. And then when I update the concept art to what I want it to look like, a CGI type animation, then I just put it through AI and make it move technically and tell it what to do. And there's this, like, literally no one knows about this character. I have a 30-second clip. I might release it eventually when it's finished. Just the sound effects are completely, I didn't even touch the sound. It's all AI sound, which needs to be replaced completely by editing.
Yeah.
So the thing is, a lot of effort's going to go into it. I needed to make about 200 clips to even get 30 seconds worth of something that looks nice, kind of. So do you want to see it, maybe?
Absolutely.
I'm sure the audience might be curious to see what it is.
I would think they are.
Just give me a sec. Okay, so I used the theme from Ram Coda, from The Force Unleashed. It kind of felt fitting in a way. Okay, here it is. The character from the concept art is called Bix Creo. It's just 30 seconds. Ignore the sound. The sound design needs a complete... Like, I didn't even start with it, just so you guys know. So this is what it looks like. And I would like to make a lot of these for various characters that never saw screen time at all.
Now this is through Grok.
That's literally all.
That was cool. That was
The thing is,
now that was through Grok, right?
Hmm?
That was through Grok?
Yeah, that was
Nice.
through Grok. So basically, I just edited the image of the original concept art of it, and from one single image, I was just telling him, give me some action scenes, the lightsaber deflections, and I purposely wanted to have blood. I thought it would be fun for it, because for some reason the AI simply couldn't give you well done blaster marks or cuts where you have where it's, what do you call it, cauterizes the wound. It just really doesn't work well. So I decided to make it more brutal. Like, let's make it have blood, even though it technically shouldn't. And I needed to make at least 200 clips of it, which is probably about an hour long when you put it all together. Only to get 35 seconds of it that looked good when I edited it out. So this is already heavily edited. I already edited the scenes to make it look all as one scene, sort of. But the sound needs fixing completely. Like, I have to do that all over again because the AI does shit sound. I hate it. So just some experimentation. But the thing is, what's interesting about it is today you can make your own stuff at home. And it can look almost like a Star Wars The Old Republic cinematic. Yeah,
and then with Kling and I think Seedance 2, which I still have yet to be able to use Seedance 2. It's been such a pain in the ass to like find a site that actually truly gives you like real access to it. Because even Seedance's own site on ByteDance, they keep lying. They keep saying, here, it's available. Try now. You click on it, it still brings you to Seedance 1.5. Like, I just actually sent them an email the other day just yelling at them, like, this is not what I paid for. You guys lured me in. I paid. Where the hell is my access to 2.0? Like, what is this? False advertising. But I know there are other platforms that you can go through. It's just that because you're going through another platform to use it, that's going to crank up the cost anywhere from 10 to 50%.
The thing is, this cost me $0. I didn't pay a single thing.
Yeah, but
Even though
CDance is that it's got the core strength of a lot of like the apparently greatest fight choreography possible on AI.
Mm-hmm.
That's paired with ultimate realism, and I was like, okay, I don't trust it to do hugely elegant fight scenes on its own, but say it can maintain quality from fast motion that we capture from our cameras and replace some of us human actors with aliens where we need them, like Maw, Bach, whatever.
Yeah, the thing is, you're using AI as a tool, not completely just from nothing, like I just did. I technically did this. Sure, I edited the image, but that's all I did, literally. Yeah. And the rest is just telling him what to do. And the thing is, I have this issue with AI. I don't know where the slop starts and where it ends specifically. You know why? Because, sure, I do a lot of editing over it. Does it still apply as slop?
Like, what I consider slop, and what I think a lot of people consider slop, is when you get those weird glitches, like namely on people's faces, or where fingers change, or it's like suddenly a person has a birthmark and then suddenly they don't, and it's like it draws attention to itself. You get weird deformities.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously. Yeah.
I think
that's they usually call AI slop mostly when you're just using AI. That's the thing. Like, no matter how much.
Yeah, you know what? You know why that is also because of they're using it to replace live actors for full-blown acting, when clearly it can't act convincingly for anything beyond a very general surface level emotion. And even then, it's like typically you're still better off even with a beginner actor.
You know what's the biggest irony? The biggest irony is that from all Star Wars channels, the only things regarding Star Wars nowadays that actually gets any views are AI fan films.
Yep.
Completely AI. And that's like the only thing that gets views, likes, followers. Yet when anyone else does it, they just get shit for it. That's the thing. Except when it blows up and then it just gets covered by other positive comments. So the thing is, you don't know what the hell you're supposed to do. And the issue is when you're making live action stuff, how on earth do you even compete?
Sorry, what?
How on earth do you even compete with the rate at which they actually release this stuff?
Oh yeah, that is. I think that the biggest thing is we're going to have to bite the bullet with some things and actually make a few things here and there predominantly AI, with the parts again where we need deep acting preserved for the live actors. So we make AI doubles of ourselves and then have those handle like even more tasks that, yeah, sure, we could have just shot this in real life, I guess, but fact is it would have taken some scheduling difficulties, maybe some location rentals or something. But spare ourselves that. At least we did that, and we actually saved rental times strictly for when we're getting up close and personal into medium and close-up shots of actors, and that's the only thing at that point. And the fight scenes, of course, maybe. But with the Dark Forces series, I intend to keep the AI down to where is it actually truly necessary. Anywhere else where it's not necessary, don't freaking use it, and just see where that goes. I'm honestly very confident that the fact that we will be able to tag it as having AI will draw plenty of attention, and will also draw in loads and loads of those viewers out there who are sick of the pure AI usage out there, who are just be like, okay, you guys are using this as basically, as you said, a new generation of CGI, but with real people. Thank you. This I'll give a chance. I'm hoping we're going to see a lot more of that. I think we will. I think we're going to see a lot of that as the response. I'm seeing loads of tutorial videos rolling out there where people are just like, yeah, I hybridized my production by using live actors live locations, as well as some AI here and there, hybridizing it, and it turned out freaking great. And half the time, people didn't even realize where the AI even was. Like,
I actually,
Yeah.
I actually used. I made an experiment, which I'm going to make a video on for my second channel. I made a World of Warcraft short clip, 1 minute long. It's supposed to be like ambient stuff in a nice and cozy tent on some awesome spot in the game of World of Warcraft. And then I decided to use the exact same shots that I made in the game to simply turn it into AI versions of itself, like the same exact thing. You want to check it out, maybe?
sure.
It's more of an experimental thing that I did in my free time. Sure, I'll release it when it's done, but just give me a sec. So I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing.
One thing I will recommend though is Higgsfield AI works with an entire collection of different AIs, so that way you can use Grok and then you can use Kling, and soon we'll be able to use Seedance too. It's meant to help us with a form that is meant to really merge lots of scenes together with continuity and, of course, the live actor integration.
Anyway, here it is, mate.
Yep.
This is basically called a machinima when you use the game engine to make it like a short scene. I wanted to make this like a Rest Traveler kind of thing. It's 2004 graphics. So I actually recorded my character, and this is what you get, technically. Basically, just focus on the sounds and the ambience. That's like the point of it. And then I basically just took all the scenes that I recorded in-game for this and put them through AI. And what you get is this.
Wait, are we supposed to be getting sound? Because I'm not hearing anything.
You don't hear the sounds.
No.
Oh, then it's basically just rain falling. It's just ambience.
Oh, it's just very low. And my laptop cooler is overpowering it.
So it's basically literally the same thing. I just put the original scenes, so I think something like that would pass as not slop, I guess. Since I actually really recorded the original footage, made a video of it, and just updated it with that stuff. I don't know what the viewers think. I'd really like to hear what the chat thinks about stuff like that before we end it, since it's quite late.
Yeah.
Because the thing you really don't want on YouTube, and generally from viewers, is to get a lot of shit for something you put a lot of effort into.
Right.
And they're really like, when it comes to that stuff, they really hate it for the most part.
Yeah.
Even though it's quite useful.
Yeah. Like, I would hope that little to no one's gonna have a problem with the fact that, you know, we AI'd in stormtroopers into our live footage, because the fact that again, we had the guy that dropped out during my flight down there, and I spent / wasted an entire year and a half trying to get 501st stormtrooper cosplayers over, and either they're too far away or some think that they're just too good to be involved in any way. And like, that's that extras snobbery and elitism.
So they were the ones who were in the Mandalorian, so they're so much above you. Is that it? Fuck them, honestly.
Must be.
The thing is, when it comes to that now, I'm kind of pleased that they were replaced by AI
Yeah,
when they're assholes.
Snobs like that, when they have no reason to be snobs, and it's like, okay, y'all are some of these people are whining about, oh, I have to sacrifice 4 hours of my day for that. Nah, it's like, boy, I've been sacrificing hundreds of hours per month on this crap for no pay. You got no right to complain.
The thing is, most fans would love to be a part of a project like that. Like, if I was close, I would gladly just come in and film stuff because it's fun. You don't get to do that stuff every day. That's the thing.
Yeah. And we put effort in. Like, I, as a director, I put effort into like not being one of those jerks that's just gonna like rule everyone on the set like a tyrant. Like, mind you, if someone is being an idiot, like, I will call them out. I will probably even shoot them with a Nerf gun that is highly powered from modifications I implemented to get their attention and deliver a good sting. But I haven't had to do that in about 8 years. I've only done it probably 2 or 3 times in the entire time that I was filming my first huge project, which was a huge Nerf action series with zombies. Basically, it was the Nerf version of the whole Dead Reckoning concept I shared earlier. Mm-hmm. It was a Nerf series, and we had lots of Nerf guns, and we had lots of darts all over the place. We even at some point had someone, the designated dart bitch, who had to go around and pick them all up out of punishment for getting out of hand one time. That was actually pretty funny. But yeah, I've rarely had to like yell at people or anything. So I'm just like, other than every now and then we get a few snobs that I'd have to scold and just be like, hey, look, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. Like,
they're literally complaining and getting to be in a fan film.
Yeah, and whining like a little baby about this, that, and its mother. Yeah. So am I. Yeah.
Oh, you Westerners.
Oh, so much of that. So much of that. Yeah. Yeah. They need, y'all need Jesus.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Need a good watch through of Cobra Kai.
Definitely. By the way, we can end it on that note regarding Christ. The thing is, one of the main reasons I love theology and history, like that's something I really listen to and read through in my free time. And the thing is, something just came up in my mind regarding the resurrection. If someone was to lie about the resurrection of Christ, mm-hmm. they certainly would never have 2 women come and witness that firsthand. Like, if someone was going to make something up, you would never have women in the 1st century to find a tomb because they wouldn't trust them in the 1st century, trust their judgment. It would definitely be a dude witnessing that if it was a lie. That's like one thing. And of course, then you have the other, which is everyone went to their deaths. You have over 500 eyewitnesses seeing him before, at even more actually, at the crucifixion, and about, if I'm not mistaken, around 400 after claiming to have seen him alive. What's even more interesting, you have 45 sources outside of the Bible claiming to have seen it, like independent sources, basically. And out of those 44 sources, I mixed up the numbers. I usually memorize these things when I listen and read about it too much. And out of the 44 non-biblical sources about the same thing, they agree on about 129 facts about Jesus and his life, all of which are that. So the thing is, when you read into it so much, when it comes to who Jesus was, the most proved, well, how do I say it in English? There is no doubt a Jesus existed 2,000 years ago, whether you believe he was resurrected or not. Like, it's undeniable. But when you go into the evidence of it, I'm not saying proof, because when you talk about history, they don't say we have proof of this. They say we have evidence. And the evidence leads us to believe this, and that. That's the thing. At some point when you go through it, it kind of becomes undeniable. Because after all, is it 2026? 2026 from what exactly? I usually ask. Like we're all basically agreeing that it's one of the most important moments in history. That's absolutely, definitely true. And one other interesting fact, I actually found out about a few years ago. When you type in Jesus Christ on the internet, it says he was born 4 to 6 BBY. BC. Yeah, Jesus was born 4 to 6 years before the Battle of Yavin. That's it. Joking. It says he's born 4 to 6 years BC. The reason why is in 525, a monk who was getting the calendar organized, going through the information, he missed it for about 5 or 6 years, basically. So technically, when you look at it, because Jesus can't be born before Christ, because he's the event horizon that really sets off the new era, sets the AD, basically. And the issue is he missed a few years, but when they realized that it was off for about 5 or 6 years, the calendar, it was way too late to change every single date everywhere. So they just sticked with it. So technically, the 0 BBY, technically, there is no year 0, by the way. It doesn't exist. It's BC 1 BC, and it's then 1 AD. There is no year 0 like there is in Star Wars with BBY. I didn't know that, actually. So technically, BC is AD starts technically 4 to 6 years before BC, if we look at it really, which is, it is what it is now. Someone missed it a long time ago, and it's too late to change everything, all the dates everywhere. But it's kind of a fun fact, to be honest.
Yeah.
The more you know, you know.
Yep.
And one last thing which I would like, since it's it's Resurrection Day for most of the world, not in my country yet, next week though. The oldest known image of Christ, I'm going to actually show it here. It's called the Alexamenos Graffito. And this is what it looks like. Just going to open up the image. Give me a sec. Okay, here we are. One last thing before we end it. Okay, see this is the oldest known image of Jesus depicted, and it's from the 2nd century. Don't know exactly when, and it was found in Rome. Basically, it's called the Alexamenos Graffito, and it depicts a crucified man with the head of a donkey, as you can see here. It was basically engraved on one of the houses in Rome. And it says Alexamenos praying to his God. It's supposed to be mockery of some guy called Alexamenos, who was a Christian in the 2nd century. And under it, someone with different handwriting writes, Alexamenos is faithful. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Really fascinating. It starts off as mockery, and it's such a Giga Chad move. Like, someone's mocking you, and then you go and just write, like, if someone's mocking you, Nate, for example, Nate praying to his God with an image like that, just write down, Nate is faithful. Like the best screw you can give, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So God bless that dude, in my opinion, at least. So yeah, that's it. And lastly, it's not blind faith, because someone had to see it. If the apostles didn't see him, if they didn't go and die for what they believed in, we wouldn't be here today. No one would. And the thing is, no one dies for a lie.
No.
Literally, it's not possible to do that. Especially when you look at what they get. What exactly did the apostles get? A horrible death, no fame, no riches, hated by everyone, dying horrible deaths for a lie. Not likely. And you know what's ironic? Christianity conquered the world without the sword at first. Before, of course, the dark times and stuff, but it conquered the world and the hearts of people without the sword. unlike Islam and some other religions. And it's ironic, it goes against culture when you look at it. Like, if it were any other religion, and the thing is, I'm not advocating the religion of Christianity. I'm advocating Christ, because Christianity doesn't bring peace. Only Christ brings peace.
Yep.
That's the thing. So who cares what you call yourself? But Jesus brings peace. And that's a fact, an absolute one. So I thought we would end it with this. And I'd actually love to have you on more, dude. This was really fun.
Yeah, this was great.
I haven't done this in years, and we might as well make it a regular thing. I'd love to see what everyone else has to say about this. And also, everything will be linked down below. Nate's channel as well is in the description already. And I'm going to pin a comment below for the fan projects and everything that's coming, basically. Just for the viewers. Anything you want to end it with?
Just a big thank you for having me on here. So I know we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and
for 1 year exactly.
We finally got to do it. Yep.
And the irony is, I'm not even using my own internet. My friend is borrowing it for me, since where I live, I simply can't have better internet for streaming. So it was quite hard to get this working, but we'll manage.
Yep.
Anyway, happy Easter to all of you, and to you, Nate, as well. And may God bless you all.
God bless, man. God bless everyone there.